going to pick the first card. We're going to show the card, and then I'm going to come back after they answer that card, and I'll shuffle it again, pick the second card, and we'll go from there. So here's the first card. See, I want to make sure I keep the cards in the camera view. So here we go. I'm going to pull the first card off the top. It's a big boss. This is one of the harder questions. Okay, so here's the question. I don't know how that happens. Oh my gosh.
What is a question that you are afraid you will be asked?
I think we did this question in my class. I remember that one.
Yeah, would you like to start then? Because
Oh
I don't
man.
know, man.
Yeah, well, you got the question? You got it? Want to read it again? Let me get it to the
Actually,
right.
okay, so
Okay.
the question there is, what is a question you're afraid you'll be asked? I have an answer for this one.
Welcome to the Taking Off the Mask podcast. My name is Ashanti Branch, and I'm really glad you've joined us. Today's episode is what we've been waiting for almost a year. Today is the episode of our young men coming back to the Social Emotional Leadership Academy and having a face-to-face. If you remember in our early episodes, maybe episode 1 or 2, our first episodes were a mixture of like individual conversations between me and also face-to-face between some of the young men who helped kick off the podcast. Sam, who you met a couple of times, is coming back, and he's going to have a conversation with Ben. These are both young men who are a part of the Social Emotional Leadership Academy, and they actually knew each other back in elementary school. This is a really beautiful conversation. A 16-year-old and a 17-year-old, one a junior heading to a junior year of high school and one a senior, asking about life, wondering about what to do next, having a conversation about the masks they feel the need to wear. Maybe you think back to when you were 16 and 17. Like, what were you excited about life? What were you worried about life? Did you have a place to talk about the places that you didn't know what to do? Where you felt confused or concerned or worried? This is a really beautiful conversation in this face-to-face. And as we evolve the model of the face-to-face, I'm hoping that you get to experience, this is going to look a little different than other episodes. So about halfway through their conversation, you're going to hear me come and add something to the conversation. Ben and Sam are going to actually play Ever Forward Club the Adventure as a part of the second half of the podcast. So I'll come in and I will begin sharing them the questions that they're going to answer. If you don't know about our game, we created this game, Ever Forward Club the Adventure, to invite people to build deep community and connections. And Sam was a part of the early prototype of the game, but today he gets to use the game as a deepening connection with Ben. And so I'm really excited about you not only being able to see the game in action, but also that you get a chance to hopefully recognize how this could benefit you and your connections and your communications and your relationships. You will also, in this episode, be introduced to one of our team members who's been working with us this summer, Justin Martinez. Justin is going back to school to start graduate studies in social work, and he helps close out the episode. So it'll be a kind of a dynamic episode you will experience today. But what I hope you will see and hear is an opportunity for two young men to come together to have really meaningful conversation, to have an opportunity to take off their masks and get real. And I just want to give you a prep for next week, because next week you're going to hear from a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old who are going to come together and talk about their mask. They are also a part of the Social Emotional Leadership Academy. We're excited about this next season. We're about to hit episode 50. This will be our 1-year anniversary. So lots of stuff happening over this summer, and we're excited that you're a part of the journey with us. If you haven't yet made a mask, we invite you to go to 100kmasks.com to make a mask. If you're not following or subscribing, please subscribe or share this with somebody who you think could benefit. And if you are a parent, educator, mentor, coach, maybe some of your players need to hear this conversation, to hear two young men having a real conversation about life with the masks as much as they can off. We thank you for being a part of the Taking Off the Mask experience and this podcast and this movement. And we're excited about the journey ahead. There's a lot of new things coming out with our work, and we're excited that you get to be on the journey with us. Thank you for being here today. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Taking Off the Mask podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Sam.
Oh. Yeah, you can go.
All right, I think we should just start from the top right
Yeah.
here. Okay. Let's do that. Except you say my name is Ben and mine, and then
Okay. All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Taking Off the Mask podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Sam.
I'm a first-year intern here. This is the first podcast that I'm going to be on. I'm really glad to have gotten the opportunity to work here, and I'm really excited to do this today.
Yeah, and I'm a second-year intern, and this is my second podcast, so it's still kind of new to this entire thing, but I think we should get right into it. So, would you like to go first? Would you like to share your mask first?
Okay, I think we can both share the front sides of our masks and then go to the back. So I can start. I'm not a very artsy person. I'm not great at drawing really anything. But on the front of my mask, I put the words intelligent, hardworking, and amiable. I think that as a person, I really like to try and project myself as somebody who's intelligent and capable and driven. That's definitely been a part of my entire life. I've definitely wanted to create an image of myself that might not always be accurate, but I try to be friendly. I try to hold myself to a high standard and just generally be easy to be around for other people. I pick those words because I think that a lot of my identity is centered around helping other people, and those are things that I think can be very helpful and things that I try to present myself as.
Yeah. When I first met you, like after all those years, actually, me and you have like a little history. I saw you helping out with Ashanti, and I think that a lot of that is true. Um, for me, uh, this is my amazing drawing of a
I love it.
triangle thingy. I wrote that I'm confident, courageous, and creative. And yeah, you can see right here. Um, yeah, I think that I'm willing to try a lot of new things, and you know, whenever a new opportunity presents itself, I'm not afraid to like take it on. And yeah, a lot of that is centered around this program. So whenever they ask for ideas or anything, I try to be as creative as possible and try to help out. We have like some plans behind the scenes that we're like coming up with. So yeah, a lot of that is helping me bring out like these parts of myself. Um, so yeah, a lot of this I'm still finding out. It's a lot of like new things, but yeah, for now,
Yeah,
this is what I have on my front.
I just for a little context for anybody watching, me and Sam used to go to middle school together for about 2 years. It's been like 6 years since then, but you've definitely exemplified all of those
Yeah, thank you.
characteristics. I remember like fifth grade, you were definitely one of the most courageous people in our class. You had really good ideas and you weren't afraid to share them. And
Yeah,
I can
thank you.
definitely see that now too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Um. So, do you want to share the back of your mask first?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the words that I put on the back of my mask were anxious, exhausted, and restless. Um, Anxiety has always been something I've dealt with, whether it's been in the form of just, I guess, performance anxiety when it's come to sports, or like other types of artistic mediums. Like, especially in middle school, I did a lot of like singing and music, and that definitely brought a lot of anxiety. I dealt with a bout of panic disorder for a little bit, mostly medication induced, but it definitely shaped my perspective. Anxiety is something that I've dealt with for most of my life, and I think that I'm just kind of an anxious person. So that's something that I don't always like to express to people. On a similar vein, I don't like showing people that I can like get burnt out or get tired. I really like to present myself as somebody who can just do it all constantly at full speed all the time. And that's not the case for me. I don't think it's really the case for anybody, but it's difficult for me to show that to people. It's really difficult to not try and create an image of perfection, or of assumed perfection at the very least. And I think that as a person, I'm also kind of restless. It takes a lot to capture my interest for an extended period of time. And I've cycled through a lot of different hobbies and a lot of different things. And it's really difficult for me to just focus on one specific thing. I've also had like sleeping problems for a long time. It's been difficult for me to like fall asleep and stay asleep. And I either sleep way too much or way too little. Yeah, I feel like I definitely am always wanting to move around and be like antsy, and that's something that it comes out a lot of the time unintentionally, but it's something that I don't like to project. Yeah, that's what I have on the back of my mask.
Yeah, I think thank you for sharing. First off, thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's important to take breaks, and it like something that I've similar to you is I'm also like really tired. A lot of that is the same, and I wrote on the back of my mask uncertainty and tired. Because I guess that yeah, sometimes I overwork myself as well. I think that's a common problem that a lot of people have, uh, and I don't know. Usually, I cross the line with the work that I give myself, um, just because of like I want to get a lot of stuff done, and yeah, I guess I don't like to be bored, but then like I guess I take on too many challenges at once, and yeah, I think a lot of that ties into my uncertainty because uh, I don't really know what I want to do in the future. It's like a lot of things, like especially this year, because I'm like growing up. I guess like I'm thinking about like my future a lot more than like last year. Uh, so yeah, I guess I'm like starting to take things more seriously, and yeah, I've been doing a lot of like I guess work for myself, and yeah, for other people to try and help myself, but I still don't know like exactly what I like, and yeah, I guess that tires me out too. And yeah, it's weird, but I think I'm getting there, and I don't really show it off. I show off like like me acting like I know what I'm about to do and stuff, but yeah, that's not the case for me, and I think it's the same thing for a lot of people, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I That was actually the perfect word. I was trying to think of what to say, in the sense of doing a lot but not exactly knowing what you want to do with your future. I strongly relate to that. I literally got a degree in psychology, and I have no clue if I actually want to pursue that as a career path. I don't know what I want to do either. And I think that it's easier to express yourself through like drive and showing people that you can do pretty much anything, rather than actually selecting something to go with in the future. But also, I think it's hard to pick one specific thing that you want to do just for the rest of your life. I think it's perfectly natural to cycle through different occupations, but I guess there is a lot of like social stigma around that. So I understand how that can be something that can be really daunting, especially to people who are just like 16, 17. Like we're so close to getting thrown into the world.
Yeah,
It's,
no, like these people, like I'm jealous of like some people that like have this thing that they love, and I feel like I'm gonna get there someday, but right now I'm just like so confused. Um, and yeah, but I mean, I keep the hope that I'm gonna know what to do, and very soon. That's like it's like a goal for myself, like figure out what I want to do, and I feel like that's a lot to put on myself in the next year. Because I mean, last year I wasn't thinking about any of this. I was like just chilling, I guess, hanging out, playing like video games, and just messing around. And then this year things got a lot more serious. So yeah, I feel like I wasn't really prepared for a lot of this, and I'm still not. But yeah, I'm slowly getting there. And yeah, I think we should move to the card game. So Ashanti, if you're there, can you shuffle the cards? And yeah, we can pick some out and get started.
for those of you who don't know, The Adventure is a card game that was created by Ashanti and the Everforward Club itself. It's designed to help groups of people, whether they be like students or with like in a classroom setting, or groups of people like families and friends, connect to each other through some deeply personal questions. It's done in a really interesting way though, and you're about to get to see us play a little bit of it.
Yeah, thank you. And Ben got to play with his class in the adventure, and I think it was the first time I think somebody had gotten one of the hardest questions I think, and I was like, no, don't do that, don't do that. And I remember I was like trying to find a new question. I was like, we haven't had that happen before, so I said, let me just find you a new question because that was a hard one, and he was like, I found we picked a new question, and he was like, no, I'll go with the first one. I'm like, wow, how courageous! He made me feel so like I felt I was feeling something there. I was like, that's so awesome, like because I don't know if I would have answered it when I was a high school student, So I want to just appreciate you for that, and just giving me courage to be like, okay, Shanti, it's bad, everyone's gonna feel it different ways, right? Every question that happens. So actually, you can't see it. I was actually shuffling them. So I'm shuffling these. We're trying to like make this is as real TV as possible, but I'm gonna pick the first four that come up. I'm gonna cut the deck. There's no sleight of the hand stuff. There's 88 questions here. There's four different categories of questions. There is leap of faith, that's a harder question. There's the big boss. Those are the two harder categories of questions. And then we have sunrise, sunset. Those are things that are starting and ending. And then we have um, the lessons learned and navigating the storm, some navigating challenging times in your life. Okay. So here we go. I've shuffled them. I hope you saw that. I hope you were watching that. And I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut the deck. You know how you cut the deck. Okay. Cut the deck like that. Okay. I want like a magic where you like there's a magic trick in there. There's no magic trick. I'm gonna pick the first card. We're gonna show the card, and then I'm gonna come back after they answer that card, and I'll shuffle it again, pick the second card, and we'll go from there. So here's the first card. See, I want to make sure I keep the cards in the camera view. So um, here we go. I'm gonna pull the first card off the top. It's a big boss. This is this is one of the harder questions. Okay, so here's the question. I don't know how that happens. Oh my gosh.
Um,
What is a question that you are afraid you will be asked?
I think we did this question in my class. I remember that one.
Yeah, would you like to start then? Cause
Oh
I don't know,
man.
man.
Yeah. Well, you got the question. You got it. Want to read it again? Let me get it to the right.
Actually, okay, so the
Okay.
question there is, what is a question you're afraid you'll be asked? I have an answer for this one.
Okay.
So we were kind of talking about this earlier in the recording. I'm really nervous that somebody's gonna ask me like what I want to do with my life. I don't have that many solid or concrete plans as to like what I want to do with my life. That's something that really makes me nervous because I feel like you're kind of expected to know what you want to do around the ages of like 16 or 17, even though that's definitely not the case for the majority of people. I just realized that I was supposed to say whether or not I was gonna answer inside the mask or outside the mask. Um, I feel like this counts as outside the mask. I definitely there's not that many things I'm scared of being asked. I really like talking to people about my experiences because I think that makes it like destigmatizes things. But being asked about like my personal goals and my personal plans really it makes me scared because I don't really have many of them. Yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna answer from the back of the mask, and my answer is really similar. So it would be, what do you want to do for like your future? And I guess that I really wouldn't know how to answer that, because before, like my parents would tell me like all these different jobs, and I would be like, okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. I'll look into that. Like my mom, she was like, oh, you got to be a surgeon. My dad was like, oh, look into engineering, and then they were like talking about like veterinarians, dentists. I was like, geez, all right, and that was a lot. And honestly, I was looking into like some of those things, and like not a lot of that interested me. But I don't know. There's like a lot of weird, like the surgeon stuff. Like at first, I was like, oh yeah, all right, that's it. I'm gonna be a surgeon. I'm gonna go to school for like what 10 years. Once I'm 30, I'm gonna be making a lot of money. And boom, easy plan. And then I looked into it. I was like, oh my goodness, like that. There's like a like you gotta put a knife into this and all that. And I was like, oh yep, no, I'm not. I don't got the stomach for that. So that was out. And then uh, I don't know. Yeah, no, actually, I do know that I don't want to like do those things. And yeah, I guess a lot of this uncertainty, and this comes from like me wanting to do stuff for myself, and I think a lot of kids around my age can relate. Like a lot of parents want you to do things that they want you to do, but I think that a lot of times they don't really give you the chance to like look into stuff that you want to do to be happy. Like I don't know, a lot of people that I know, their parents are like, "Oh, be a doctor, make a lot of money, uh, retire early, and then boom, that's an easy life." And yeah, a lot of people don't think about like a lot of parents actually, not people, don't think about how that would affect the kid if they like really wanted to do something else. Then they might feel forced to take in this career path that they wouldn't want. And yeah, that's how I felt for a lot of the time, like mostly this year. But then I talked to my parents. I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do this. And luckily they were supportive. They're like, all right, just do what like makes you happy. Um, but I still don't know what that is yet. So yeah, that's my answer for now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think a lot of us have really similar experiences to that, like especially with parents who just really want their kids to have money and don't really think about other things. I know I kind of went through a similar thing with law, like 10 years of school just to make a good living, and it's enticing at first, but then when you look into it, it's not fun. It's not going to be like a rewarding career path other than financially. So I think you're definitely shedding light on a big problem that doesn't get talked about all that often. Like it's kind of sad that people think mostly in financial terms when it comes to career planning. Just when it at least parents.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I think that yeah, I think that we're ready for the next question, but yeah, I think this should get talked about a lot more. And yeah, yeah. I'm not sure what to say right now, honestly. Yeah, I think we're ready for the next question. Yeah, so thank you for sharing, Ben. And
Thank you too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you both. Okay, I'm gonna shuffle them again. Thank you both for answering that question. That was from the Big Boss category. These are shuffling again. I will cut the deck, and then we will. Come on, our cards keep falling, and then we will show the question. So here's the deck shuffled. I will cut the deck like that. Cut the deck. Put it behind. Okay. Here's a question. Challenge card. What? What's happening? Okay, look, this is another challenge. This is another big boss. I don't know what's happening with this shuffling and cut, but that's just what it is. It says, can somebody read it? I'm missing in reverse.
Yo, what was the hardest day of your life?
I have to think about that one.
That's a hard one. That's a hard question. Okay.
All right, I can go first.
Okay.
Just
You,
because
you want
actually, yeah,
you
yeah,
want
I've
to keep
I've
it?
answered
Okay.
this question like a lot of times. Um,
Okay. I'm gonna.
yeah, so uh, for me, the hardest day of my life was actually when yeah, I was thinking like either the day that I was in a car accident. So for context, I was hit by a car. I broke like 20 bones. Uh, biggest breaks from my leg and my arm, which are two things that like a person needs a lot. Um, but yeah, I feel like that was the hardest day of my life, but also it led to some of the hardest months of my life. So yeah, I think just because losing the ability to walk for a while and then to like use my arm, those are like two things that made life really difficult. Uh, yeah, but luckily I had no trauma because I kind of blacked out the entire time, so I don't remember anything. So I was pretty lucky there. Um, so yeah, a lot of the hardships came from me not being able to walk, and I was stuck to a bed for like 6 months, and then I had to learn how to walk all over again uh, with both my legs, because my right leg, which was the one I broke, I couldn't move at all, but my left leg was pretty much stiff because I was like in a bed, so I didn't get any exercise. The only thing that I moved was my arm to like try and steer the wheelchair, and yeah, but I could barely do that. I was just moving one way because I couldn't steer it both ways, and it sucked. Because there's always someone behind me pushing me. But yeah, I had to learn how to walk again, so that was really hard. So I don't think there was one most difficult day in my life, but it was like a day that led into a lot more days that were very difficult. And yeah, that's for me, and that was in the back of the mask.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's absolutely one of the hardest things I've ever heard, and definitely it's really easy to forget how important like certain like walking and like moving things with your arm. It's easy to forget how important that is, and until you lose that, it can be really difficult to just like be thankful every day that we have what we have. Um, I let me think. I think the hardest day of my life was probably the day where I had to get taken by an ambulance because I passed out from exhaustion in the middle of San Francisco. I had been up for about 2 nights before. I'd been working constantly. At that point, I was taking 6 college classes and then 3 AP classes in high school. And I was also on a sports team, and I just kind of neglected myself. I was also taking this new stomach medication. I had some stomach problems for a little bit. I had an ulcer, and it wasn't good. But I put too much caffeine in my system, and I literally blacked out in the middle of SF when I was like trying to take a little bit of a break. Um, I I don't. That's definitely not as difficult as a lot of what you've been through. Honestly, any of what you've been through, but it was definitely a harrowing moment for me. and it was a turning point. Like before that point, I really didn't think that any of the ways that I treated myself were going to come back to hurt me. But after that point, I like understood that I had to make some changes in the way that I was living, or I would have permanent physical deformities and issues. Um, I think that is from the back of the mask. I That is definitely the hardest day in my life that I can remember as of right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's important to take little breaks, and like everyone has problems, even if they're huge or they're small. Problems are like problems, and yeah, I know I've struggled with overworking, but yeah, like I'm not sure if you've overcome that challenge or not, but if you haven't, I think you should find ways to take breaks, and if you have, then I'm glad that that part of your life is over. And yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah,
Uh, it's a constant struggle, but I hope that things have just gotten better for you entirely, like physically.
yeah,
That definitely sounds like a huge hurdle in your life, and just a painful experience. And like I'm sure you definitely learned from it, but that doesn't make it any better.
yeah. You're right. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that I learned from it, but yeah, a lot of stuff was pretty difficult. But yeah, yeah. What can you do when something happens? You gotta deal with it as best as you can.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're ready for the next question.
Now this time I'm not gonna cut it because every time I cut it last time, we end up with a big ball. So I'm not gonna cut it this time. I'm just gonna pick the one on top. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Because every time I cut it, somehow a big boss pops up. So here we go. I didn't cut it. I didn't cut it. Question is right here. Here's the question. It's not a big boss this time, but it is weathering this. It is lessons learned. So
Ooh,
So
that's a good
tell us
one.
about a time when you realized you were becoming an adult. Oh, when I got my mustache. No.
all right, I'm gonna turn my camera off. Okay, thank you.
All right. So would you like to go first?
Okay. I think that a time that I realized I was becoming an adult was it was one day. I run cross country pretty much every day. Um, it was a really late practice. It was a long practice. For most of my life, I've had like a relatively like strict curfew. Like there was, I guess up until like sophomore year, I was home pretty much every day by sunset, and that was definitely it was definitely a frustration. But one of my practices went really really late, and I was terrified that my family was not going to be happy about it. And when I got home, I basically nothing happened. It was really strange, and I think that that was just one incident of many where like restrictions were being loosened, and I was expected to like basically do more for myself. But also I think a better example of that would probably be like the time I got my first job. But um, I that's a really broad question. I'm trying to think of something from the back of the mask that's like a little bit more personal. Um, hmm.
Yeah, if you'd like, I can go next, and then we can get back to you so you have some time to think.
Okay, that could
Yeah.
probably be helpful.
All right. So
Thank you.
yeah, I think that time I realized I was becoming an adult was I guess when hmm yeah, I offered to go first, but I don't even know. I
It's
guess
hard.
yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm becoming an adult, so I'm not yet an adult, but I think it was when I started to worry about my future because yeah, like right now I'm that's like one of my top stressors. Like, what am I gonna do? Like in 2 years, I'm out of high school, and then I'm an adult. So like right now, like I still think of myself as like a kid with like kid problems and stuff. So yeah, like I mean, 2 years is like pretty much nothing. Like, but it's a nothing and a lot at the same time. Like a lot can happen in 2 years. Um, but yeah, I think I'm still gonna look the same. I might like act a little bit different, but yeah, I don't know how 2 years is gonna make me an adult. Like 18, like I'm not sure why, but when we're 18, we're adults. Like that number makes us an adult, and I think that when I'm 18, I'm still gonna be becoming an adult because I don't think I'm ready for the adult life. Like I'm like preparing myself, but I know like I'm not gonna move out at 18. I'm not gonna like be done with my career at 18. I still have like a long ways to go. Um, so yeah, I guess I'm realizing that I'm becoming an adult right now because I'm like worried about I guess these adult problems that I don't yet have, but I know I have. Like I know I have coming. Um, and yeah, I feel like that was both the front of the mask and the back of the mask because I mean I show it a lot that I'm stressed and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do as an adult, but like also it's from the back of my mask because it's also like personal. Uh, but yeah, I think it's the best way for me to answer the question without confusing it too much. And yeah, are you ready to
Yeah.
go next?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's definitely true. I think worrying about the future is always just a really big sign. I guess kind of in that vein, not to get like too deep into it, but when I started caring more about like political issues and how politics can actually have a real effect on people, I think that when maybe this was probably a little bit earlier. Um I didn't really understand like how certain politicians and certain policies affected greater numbers of people. Um, I guess this was closer to middle school, like when I started looking at some of the policies that were being passed in Oakland and just in the Bay Area, and like seeing a lot of protests and going to a lot of different like political events. I think I started to understand just how important things that are often like chalked up to be, I guess, unimportant, maybe like or just less important. How like how much impact they really have. Um, I guess in that sense, like caring more about my future and the future of the people around me was something that only really happened when I started maturing. I think that as a child, I definitely had a problem understanding how my actions affected the people around me and how other people's actions affected the people around them. But I think one of the things that really shifted for me mentally was just looking at situations holistically and being able to discern information and discern the ways in which people are being mistreated by things that they can't really change, regardless of how hard they try.
Yeah, yeah, I think that has a lot to do with what I said, and yeah, I think this kind of shows how many kids, I guess, our age are still wondering what they're gonna do and are still confused. I know I'm not the only one, and I know you and me aren't the only people or kids who have no like are still confused. So yeah, I guess it's both weird and confusing how we're supposed to figure out what to do in like 4 years of high school. Uh, but yeah. Thank you for sharing that as well. Uh, and yeah, I think these are my final thoughts. What about you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I don't know. I feel like sometimes it seems like the world's just blazing around us. Like everything's on fire. There's just natural disasters everywhere. Feels like there's no stability. Um, I think that having conversations that are candid like this can really actually make an impact. So I'm really glad that I got to sit down and do this. Um, and I hope that not to get all activisty, but I hope that we can actually make some positive changes in the future, and that our generation won't have to, um, I guess, worry like entirely about what they're gonna do in the next like 4 years. Like, it's definitely more difficult to survive now and really anywhere in the world than it was in the past. But with changing times come changing circumstances, and we're gonna have to make it through one way or another. Um, yeah, I think that's my final thought.
That's a good way to end all this. So I think we're ready for Justin to pop up right here. Uh,
Yeah,
How about that? Can you hear me? There I
oh
am.
yeah,
yeah,
we can hear you.
What's up?
hey,
Hey,
yeah,
Yeah. It was really nice listening to you both. Love the insight that both of you brought forth, and I really enjoyed watching you both acknowledge each other too, with just sharing your thoughts and insights on the topic. I think that you both are very aware with the realities that face you as young people entering adulthood, just because society says that you're an adult doesn't necessarily make it so, doesn't make it true. You know, I could remember back when I was 18, um, feeling the pressure of like knowing that I needed to know what I was going to do. Um, I started college when I was 17, so even before that, like I had so much pressure around me with friends and teammates and classmates about like, oh, well, you're in college now or junior college for me. You know, what's your plan? And just feeling like I did not have a clue, and that's okay. I just want to point that out that you guys, you know, feeling that way, if you do, you may know what you think you want to do, but your mind may change 100 different times because mine has. That's okay that you don't know what to do. It's actually right where you need to be, because not knowing what you want to do actually is a beautiful thing, because then you get to become what you want. You get to spend time on cultivating what it is that you think you want to do, think you want to be, you know, and that takes time. It takes a process. It's something that you definitely have to have faith and trust in, you know, whatever, however you practice your faith or belief within yourself. It's something that is pivotal pivotal for your growth. But surrounding yourself around young people like yourselves, keeping those connections with each other and supporting each other along the way is all the support that you need. You know, sometimes less is more. You can have a lot of friends, or a lot of people that you know, but not have a lot of friends. You know, you two, you know, represented the support that everyone needs. Just being vulnerable, just being honest, being able to share your thoughts on how you feel is the first step. And then giving yourselves the support is the second step. And so on and so forth. You know, I'm even learning now, I'm 30 years old, not to put too much pressure on myself, because I'm could be very, very hard on myself because I'm not where I think I should be, or I'm not where my friends are in their life, you know. Like half of my friends are married with children, and I want that one day, but that's not my reality right now, you know. Life has other things in store for me. Um, so school is my baby right now. School is my marriage. And yeah, when I'm done with that, we'll see what happens, you know, but I have to constantly remind myself not to be so hard on myself and not to compare myself to others, because that does nothing for me. My story, my journey is my story and my journey, and no one other person is going to have the same exact opportunities, experiences, realities, or support systems that I do or don't have. You know what I mean? So, in closing, um, I'm excited for you both. I'm excited for people that you impact. I'm excited for the ones that you inspire and that you support. Just remember, don't feel like you need to have it all figured out when you turn 18 or when you become an adult. Do not feel like you need to know that. You actually don't need to know that, because if you did, life would be all figured out for you. You know what I mean? But then there would be no journey to experience. There would be no path to travel. You would already know where you stand. But life is a journey, and life is gonna do this. It's not a straight parallel line, and that's a beautiful thing. And I'll leave it there. Thanks for hearing me out.
Yeah, thank you for the
Thank you.
advice and for all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually do appreciate that a lot. And I don't think there's much that I can add on, but just
Yeah,
all I have to say is like thank you. Uh, nah, I'm gonna be thinking about a lot of that, like
good,
in the future. Yeah. Um, is there
good.
any last thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, thank you so much for talking to us about that. It's definitely hard to remember that we don't have to have everything figured out, but it's always nice to have a reminder,
Mm-hmm.
and I really appreciate that,
Yeah,
especially in this format.
yeah.
Um, there is one quick thing. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to go and make a mask yourself, you can go to 100kmask.com. I think that was what the website was called. If not, please correct me. But you can go make a mask yourself, and you can go submit it online. You can do this activity with a friend. You can do this activity with your class. You can do this activity with anybody. So you should go do this activity if you haven't already. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, great
Yeah, thank
sales pitch. Yeah, so this is what the mask is gonna look like. Front of the mask, back of the mask. My name is Sam right here. I'm from the Bay Area and I'm 16 years old. And yeah, thank you guys for listening to us. And yeah, we're gonna see you guys next time.
Ben and Sam, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you.
coming here. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Until next time,
Until next time.
take care.
What you heard today, you enjoyed. If you've listened to this and you found something inspiring, please like and subscribe to this podcast. That's the best way for someone to find this podcast, maybe like you did. Please tell someone about it. If you know, listen to some of our previous episodes, and if one of them rings out to you, please share it with somebody you know. We also invite people to join us in a face-to-face where they come together with another person to make a mask and talk about that mask together. There's short conversations, about 20, 30 minutes. So if that's something that's interesting to you, please send us a message, send us in the comments below, let us know that you're interested in that. And we look forward to you joining the movement of the Million Mask Movement. And check out our new shirt. I don't know if you can see it, but this is our new shirt, the Million Mask Movement. And so we'll have these soon available, right? But we look forward to you being a part of the movement and supporting our work. Please consider supporting the work that we do in Ever Forward and in the work that we do in the Million Mask Movement to let people around the world realize that they're not alone. Thank you.